Thanks, Damon. Now, where's Michelle? Michelle Whitelaw. The program's changed here now. You've probably worked that out by now. But Michelle, I talked to Michelle a little bit, but I met her at a Brisbane Mothers Rally, I'll call it, a month or two ago. And I rang up, was it you who I rang up and said, now, can we bring the big joint? And she goes, no, we don't want it to look too hippie. I thought, that's fair enough, so we took a few things. Then when we finally got there, I really enjoyed the march. We got there and I looked at myself in some photos looking so feral, it didn't matter at all. Anyway, Michelle's just a winner. Where is she? Come here, girl. She'll tell you her story. And there's a couple more people coming up too, aren't they? Guys, Tracy Moore and James. Do feel free to come up. But here's Michelle Whitelaw.
Thank you. Thanks, Michael. Oh, golly, it is bright. Before I start my story or my journey, I would like to... I was meant to be on stage today with David Stevens. David's not well at the moment and couldn't make the journey for the first time to Nimbin. It was... we've just got a couple of photos and I'd just like to give a brief rundown of why David... Most people do know his name. This is Daisha. Daisha is David's daughter, one of David's children. As I said before, David's been here many a times. This photo was taken this time last year, 1 year ago. Daisha has one of the syndromes one of my children do have, which is called CSWS. It's a rare type of epilepsy syndrome that basically your child's brain just fries. They have spike rate activity of about 5 to 8 seconds of constant subclinical seizures. You're living on borrowed time. We've basically had the same experience, the same journey with this syndrome, sharing the same specialists. As I was saying, this photo was taken 1 year today, and cannabis all just works. It saved Daisha's life. This photo, I believe, was either taken just before or just after Daisha collapsed in the street and had a tonic-clonic seizure, which was one of many violent, aggressive seizures that family constantly saw and dealt with. I don't know how to get the next photo going. Oops. But you can see here in that photo, and there's David there with his daughter Daisha. He's done a lot of work. He lives in, the family lives in New South Wales. He's been a big voice for the children that suffer epilepsy. There's no treatment, no options for CSWS. No pharmaceutical medication ever reduces these seizures, and they just cause constant brain damage. So Daisha is now alive today because David saved her life. She's now been seizure-free as of today for 1 year. To my knowledge, David uses a high-strain CBD oil. So very different to what I'm going to talk about, even though one of my children do have that one syndrome as well. So I'd just like to acknowledge that and say thank you, because it was David that rang me back in November last year and actually was one or two people that helped me to save my child's life. So I just needed to recognise that today. A bit sad that he can't be standing next to me. He's fighting his own battles at the moment. A lot of us are aware of, but he likes to keep the focus on his daughter because it's him that has saved her life and also saved a lot of families' lives like mine and families around the world. So that's David and that's Daisha. So thank you. Are you right to play? I'll just do a quick short video which will sum up why I'm standing on stage today.
For Jai Whitelaw, it's a very different story. Neil Dawley reports he's constantly under siege as barely a minute passes without him having a fit.
Oh, What's wrong? Come on. Jai. Come on, up you get. Jai. Mum. What's wrong with Jai?
He has seizures all day, all night, 24/7.
It's an extreme disease and desperate diseases need desperate measures.
Michelle Whitelaw doesn't get the chance to have nightmares. She's never asleep long enough. Besides, her waking hours are far worse than anything she could dream of.
He doesn't get a break. He's just constantly seizuring. Jai, you right?
In the past 2 years, the longest she's slept is 3 hours, and here's why. Those jerky movements mean her 7-year-old son Jai is having yet another seizure. He can have up to 20 an hour. That's nearly 500 a day.
I don't think there's one type of seizure we haven't seen or he doesn't have.
Dr. Kate Sinclair is a neurologist at Brisbane's Royal Children's Hospital. She says Jai's epilepsy is one of the most severe cases she's tried to treat.
I've looked after other children with Landau-Kleffner, and I think that Jai is probably the most challenging child I've had to look after so far.
So many families are having to make that really difficult choice, the worst of choices, between breaking the law and saving their child's life. The compassion and the courage to update this law and to drag this law into the 21st century, then children will die.
I don't know where to start. I'm so exhausted. It's my first time away from my 5 children in 25 years. A long story short, I have 2 children who are being successfully treated by Mulliways. As you've seen Jai's story, Jai was addicted to high-dose benzos at the age of 8. He's tried and exhausted and failed every pharmaceutical medication. He's regressed in late November, December we were rushed into hospital and we were told there was nothing else they could do. I had advocated for close to 2 years. A lot of people do know me from SBS Insight, Sunday Night, The Project, Today Tonight, every news station, every paper. I did not want to break the law. My husband actually works for the federal government. So my fear was my other children, knowing that if I was locked away or knowing that if they would be removed, Queensland isn't the right state to live in. It's one of the toughest states. But I took him home and I sat on that couch for 2 days and I was contemplating whether to actually kill him and kill myself because I refused to go back to hell. He didn't know who we were. He was struggling to eat, drink. We've seen hell before. We've lived it. We've actually performed many resuscitations and CPRs. Up to 500 seizures a day for 5 years he was suffering. So knowing that regression had hit, it wasn't going to get any better. So I contacted, we're already on the list of Mullaways. I was too petrified to use it, but I made that choice. If it didn't work, I probably wouldn't be standing here today, but it did. He's now going on to close to 5 months. We've been on Mullaways. When you think of the number 500 seizures a day, he has, in 4 months, we worked it out, a reduction of 60,000 seizures. He can now pick up a pen, he can now write, he can now kick a ball. I bought his first bike. He can ride a bike, he can be a normal 10-year-old kid. He's got life now. I managed to wean him off the 35 tablets a day he was addicted to, and you know, I'm not just talking Valiums and benzos, I'm talking a hell of a lot of different medications that I wouldn't even take myself. So I know I'm a criminal, I know I'm breaking the law, but I wish I'd done that 5 years ago and saved him the damage that's been done by these pharmaceuticals. He's got cataracts, he's lost his night vision, peripheral vision, brittle bones, the list goes on and on. You know, 17 teeth have been smashed, removed. These medications that are pharmaceutical come with a hell of a long list of side effects, and those side effects, they cause damage, and when the damage becomes worse or greater than the syndromes and the original medical diagnosis, something's really wrong. This plant doesn't kill, it saves, and whatever the combo of the strain is that works for each person, I'm no cannabis expert, but Tony Bowers saved my children's lives, and I'm very grateful for that. Now, just to run it quickly, Lachlan, who's my other son, he's 16, he was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes when he was 1 year old. He was 1 in 5 million in Queensland. Going back to late last year, his feet were discolouring. He does insulin pump therapy. He was on a combination of 3 different insulins, many different types over the years, for 15 years. He exhausted all avenues of MRIs, CT scans, ultrasounds. His feet were going to be amputated. He's already lost all nerve sensations in all his fingers. I couldn't save just one. I had to try 2. And he's up now walking. He does not suffer any chronic pain. Pain actually, treating that pain wasn't an option. He's allergic to anything that ends in dene, codeine, morphine, pethidine. We found that out at hospital when they gave him morphine for a ruptured appendix. He hit psychosis. Lachlan's 5'9" and about 70 kilos, so it took 4 of us for about 5 hours holding him down while he was delirious. So there was no safe pharmaceutical medication to offer him pain relief. So Mullaways has worked for him as well. I don't know how, but it has. His feet are back to normal, doesn't suffer pain, he sleeps well, eats well, and he's currently doing his VCE. So, yeah. So for 15 years he's been type 1 diabetic. As I said, he's 16 years old, and we just had our first insulin pump reduction. He's, for the first time ever now, got a stable hemoglobin 1AC, and I don't know why it's working, I don't know how it's working, but it does, and it's low dose. We're using the THCA, we're not doing the CBD. Whether it continues to work or not, I don't know. I'm no doctor. Our doctor does know. My blood pressure went up and I thought I was going to actually have a heart attack and stroke after I kept saying for 2 years in the news I didn't want to break the law, and now I went public and said I am. I've went public with the police minister just recently on Channel 7 News, have contacted the Premier, have contacted absolutely everyone that can make change in Queensland. I've given them my email address, my address at home, my phone numbers, even my licence number, and said, come knock on my door. I'm not afraid. I've got the evidence, I've got the proof. I know it works. I just think if you document it, our neurologist, we went back into hospital after 2 weeks and she saw him running and talking and able to communicate well where he'd lost all that. She didn't want to know why, because asking, we have to then admit she has to report. So now she wants to see us 6 monthly. So the amount of families that contact me now every day asking how to do this, and if they can't get Mullaways, how long till the laws change? Don't wait. Grow your own. If you can't grow it, find someone that has knowledge or can compassionately help you, because there's too many kids that have died. You know, in the 2 years that I've been advocating, we've lost too many friends, and I nearly lost both my sons too. So I don't like to encourage to break the law, but doing it, you know, you don't want to bury your children and then wish that you had. That one medicine could have saved them, and that's all it is. It is a safe medicine. So thank you.
So I can't handle these movies. David and Dacia's movie had everyone crying. I'll get my breath. So, James, are you there? Come and tell us your story quickly. We've got to watch time a bit. I absolutely can't handle these stories. Hang on, I'll get it out. Where's Alex Wodak? I can't comprehend how anyone could want to stop that. She's a hero.